The opinions on this podcast are those of the individuals
and do not reflect any official view of the United Steelworkers,
USW, Local 105,
or its officers, or sub-board members for officers.
From the banks of the mighty Mississippi,
This is
Steel Revolution. Steel Revolution.
Here we go. Steel Revolution number 4. My name is Roy Hutt.
And I'm Mike Nicholas.
Sean doesn't have a mic, but he's here. All right, guys, a little bit of housekeeping from the last show. We did forget to do the douche of the show, or week, if we can actually get in here and nail this down weekly.
And I voted for Sean, but I guess I got outvoted, so.
So thinking about the back to last show, Steve King, definitely one of them, along with Rick Tyler, which was the Tennessee guy running for Tennessee public office, who put on his billboard "White" or "Make America White Again." So we usually never had two, not that we've had that many shows. So talking it over with Mike, decided to do a douche nozzle, which could be Rick Tyler, and then a douchebag, because he is a big one, Steve King.
Absolutely.
Sean, would you be kind to play the Steve King audio from the outside the Republican National Convention?
I mean, I'd ask you to go back through history and figure out where are these contributions that have been made by these other categories of people that you're talking about. Where did any other subgroup of people contribute more to civilization?
And white people?
Than Western civilization itself, that's rooted in Western Europe, Eastern Europe, and the United States of America, and every place where the footprint of Christianity settled the world. That's all of Western civilization.
What the hell was that?
Steve King from Western Iowa. Way to keep it classy, Iowa.
Wow.
Going on to the local news. I want to say something that we meant to put on a couple shows ago, but thanks to the membership, without them and the support to get the equipment for this podcast, we wouldn't be able to do it. Another local news, committee still being active. The Civil and Human Rights Committee had a car wash, raising over $200, some of that money going to supplies for Hope Creek Nursing Home. The quilt raffle for Bridging the Gap, the Veterans Charity, raised how much money, Mike?
The quilt raffle itself raised about $2,015, and then the local matched up to $2,000, so we gave them a total of $4,015 last Friday.
And the Next Gen's golf tournament ended up raising money for Transitions Mental Health to the tune of, they received a check for $2,500. And speaking about that charity and the some of the folks over there, they're having a hard time. Of course, the state with Rauner's budget cut lines in the budget for inpatient mental health, along with different services around there. So that money is desperately needed when you think about having homeless people out on the street and people that need help. Well, they're going to be there because there's no funding for them to get into the treatment facilities to get help. So, all in all, great charity, making our community better. Just having trouble with the funds because Rauner seems to not think that that's important.
And we'll talk about that a little later in the show.
Going on to the local area, speaking of that budget, I guess at least some of the budget passed, but what I didn't realize was that the federal funds for like the Quad City Airport, the projects going on there, is tied with the state budget. Won't release the federal funds to fund those jobs, so you got people like brothers and sisters in the IBEW that's working out there. The funds for that project stops, they're out of work.
Yeah, we also have a lot of laborers out of work that work over there as well. So
I think alone the impact of some of those dollars is somewhere around $3 million. Moving on to more of that Illinois budget. Mike, what do you got?
I'm just amazed. We went, this is the first time I read for the first time in our state, in my state, Illinois, 108-year history, we went an entire year without a budget. A lot of people know the fighting between Madigan and Rauner. Rauner vetoed a budget that was $4 million out of balance earlier in the year, I'd say March, April timeframe. And then recently, we got a stopgap budget to help fund the public school systems to get them through fiscal 17. But what amazes me is the budget that has been passed now to do so and to help a little bit is $8 million out of balance. It just blows my mind that we could veto $4 million billion, B as in boy, billion, out of balance, and then we pass an $8 billion out of balance budget. What the hell are these guys thinking? It's both sides of the fence.
Yeah, some of that money, I mean, if we think about the past shows, all the tax cuts that Rauner has put in for, the wealthy in Illinois, you're gonna have more debt or budget out of whack when you give away or you don't collect enough taxes.
But what's crazy is that Madigan supported it. So Rauner went to him and said, "You've got to support this budget. Oh, by the way, it's $8 million out. I didn't support your $4 million out, but you need to support my $8 million out." And so something smells there. So doing a little bit of digging this week, I found that what he got in exchange for his support is more funding to the absolutely horrible, mismanaged Chicago public school systems. And Rauner, I believe, back in April or May, said he wouldn't spend another dime on the Chicago schools. But now, because his buddy's going to help him out, he gives Madigan more money to help Chicago schools, and he gets the budget he wants. And who hurts by this? We just talked about it. Transitions, DCFS, the places that help our kids, help our elderly, help our veterans, they're the ones that are paying for this. Yeah, we've got kids that are going to start school in a few weeks, but everybody else is hurting, and a place like Transitions can't afford the psychiatric help to pay for the help that their patients need, or to help their patients get the medication they need. But our politicians have all the money that they need now.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes back to, it's all on the taxpayer one way or another. If you want to help your community, you're donating to the charities. If they can't get the money through taxing the wealthy or corporations, they get it through us.
It just amazes me how we fought though over $4 billion, and I understand $4 billion's a lot of money, and now we're $8 billion out, and there's some financial analysts out there saying that by the end of the fiscal year of 17, we're going to be over $10 billion out and have double the deficit we have now in Illinois. I don't think that's going to look too good for Rauner re-election.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how good the rich guys do in the upcoming elections. And from Iowa, I don't have much. Let me just reiterate how sorry I am about Steve King, who also has if you wonder where the audio and what's going on with that audio, all you got to know is he's got a Confederate flag on his desk, and that's not the state capitol flag of Iowa. Moving on to more of the national news, Leo Gerard has come out with a statement about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump had said that he claimed that he's a steel worker. So Leo said Donald Trump stomped into my backyard just days before July 4th, claiming to be a steel worker. Leo goes on to say, "That's right. The billionaire whose manicured little hands routinely slip into lambskin golf clubs, but never once donned heavy-duty work mitts, never donned heavy-duty work mitts and actually claimed to be a steel worker." What do you think about that, Mike?
What did he think he was going to gain by it? I mean, there can't be anybody in this country that actually believes that guy's ever worked a day in his life.
get a little bit of PR when he's down in Pennsylvania at the time, just to try to say, oh, somebody says, hey, you know, he said he was a steel worker.
There's nobody dumb enough to believe that.
Go along with how good Trump is to union members. Out of a report out of the Huffington Post that says that he's spent well over $500,000 in using Cruz and Associates, a firm that, let's see, combats union organizing efforts. Show you, he's in it. He's in it for us. More Trump news on. If you realize that while in Scotland, his son, Don Jay, sent a letter out to Scottish members of Parliament asking for money for his campaign, which is illegal. Can't have foreign money and do American politics, but of course we know corporate money is good.
Well, and I love it. Did you see, because of all his antics over there at his golf course, that his course has now been pulled from consideration for the 2020 British Open? They won't even consider it anymore.
I did see that. It's crazy how these people think they can get away with stuff, and then they end up getting hurt in the pocketbook when people take stuff away from them.
You can always follow us online. Facebook.com/Steel Revolution Podcast. Now, more Steel Revolution.
All right, more on Trump. The latest scandal, not only to go along with his Trump University, but Trump Institute, who in an infomercial states, I put all of my concepts that have worked so well for me, new and old, into a seminar. I'm teaching what I've learned. And then he has two people who are accused of deceptive business practices and fraud for decades running the Institute. And a quote from Marco Rubio: Trump is a con man.
That means a lot coming from him.
I mean, yeah. As we go through this podcast, and we're not. You know, my goal is to not. I think our goal. My goal is to not pull any punches with any of the people who are out there for political office or anybody. But the thing is with Trump is he says enough to get you going, and to think that he's back behind working people. Doesn't like the trade deals, but if you look into his actions and his family's actions, it speaks different. So
very different.
You know, I've said it before. You know, is it the lesser of two evils this time? And do you take the approach of, hey, you know, you live to fight another day, or at least you get maybe the lesser of two evils? And Hillary, there might be some questions about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and then you fight that. You fight that with trying to pull attention to that, and you know, as being union members, and you know, that's what we do best. You know, we fight. You always got to fight. You can't give up, and then that's what you do. You live to fight another day.
But at the very least, what I tell our members is, if you don't like either of them for president, I get it. I understand. But you got to vote for those people who are going to keep that president in check. So vote for your Congress. Vote for your House of Representatives. Vote locally. Get out there and vote for everything else if you're not going to vote for president. Don't just sit at home and not vote and bitch about it.
And you're absolutely right. You think about what Obama's been able to do or not do, and a lot of that has to do with the Congress being, you know, not willing to work for him. So you only get so far at the top.
Yep.
You know, it's the same as if we would have got, you know, somebody else you wanted, like Sanders. If you don't have the people to work for him, you're still wondering what you're going to get done.
Who would you like representing the United States in a deal with Iran, with this regime there?
Well, I think you have different people. I think Rudy would do a very good job. He'd be very much more militant. I think Hillary's always surrounded herself with very good people. I think Hillary would do a good job.
Do you identify more as a Democrat or a Republican?
Well, you'd be shocked if I said that in many cases I probably identify more as a Democrat. And I've been around for a long time. And it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats than the Republicans. Now, it shouldn't be that way. But if you go back, I mean, it just seems that the economy does better under the Democrats
Well,
than
it
the
certainly did
Republicans.
well under Clinton.
Certainly we had some very good economies under Democrats as well as Republicans. But we've had some pretty bad disaster under the Republicans.
Like that's the beginning of his flip-flops.
Well, I wonder what he has to say about it now, though.
I saw an interview and he just said, well, you know, I don't like to say anything bad about people. I always like to say something nice. So I really thought she was bad, but you know, I don't like to say
Yeah.
bad things about people. More from Trump on a Washington Post article that had said from the Trump Foundation has given at least $3.8 million to charities since 2001. That is a significant sum, although not among billionaires. For example, the hedge fund titan Stanley Druckenmiller, who's just behind Trump on the Forbes ranking of net worth, gave $120 million to the foundation alone. So it's not like it's just coming out of Trump's pocket.
Wow.
And with those family values and worker values, Don J, as I like to, Don Jr. sent out a tweet a while back, and here's the tweet, I quote, "At dinner with our groundskeeper who missed his sister's wedding to work. Love, loyalty to us. No big deal. Hopefully she'll have another someday." Again, when they think that much about people that work with them, what makes you think they give a shit about you?
They don't give a shit about anybody.
Touching a little bit on the Republican National Convention, some highlights from there. Some speak volumes. Kasich and Cruz did not publicly come out in supporting Trump. In fact, if you watched any of it, Cruz got booed because he did not do that. Kasich, who is Senator of Ohio? Or is he Governor of Ohio? Yeah, Governor of Ohio refused to even go, which, again, you're a Republican and the convention's in your state and you refuse to go. Thinking back to previous shows on how well that Republicans do create some jobs, you know, we had Ted Cruz with, you know, the porn that he supported throughout the race. New York Post reports that male escorts are making a lot of money there, or did, I guess, since we're past the convention. So, hey, when all else fails, when they are pretty poor job creators, they do create some. More people refusing to support Trump, said the Bushes have not supported Trump.
Did you see the signs at the RNC, the Latinos for Trump? Man, I thought that was great till you pan out to the audience and it's nothing but white males holding the signs. I just thought it was great.
I did see that after the fact that those Latinos were pretty white. And if you caught Melania's speech, sounded a lot like Michelle Obama's. So we'll take a break right now and have Sean play that speech.
Barack and I were raised with so many of the same values. Like, you work hard for what you want in life.
The values that you work hard for what you want in life.
That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're going to do.
That your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
That you treat people with dignity and respect.
That you treat people with respect.
Because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievements is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
You ready? back from that great audio.
Yeah, great audio.
More news from around there. Trump has picked Mike Pence from Indiana to be his vice president. Got any feelings on that, Mike?
Got a lot of feelings. I'm not sure I can say a whole lot of them right now.
Could it be Satan?
There lots of speculation. I believe put something together more on him coming on the next show. Little background though, it seems like there's some feelings with him that Trump picked him to get to the Koch brothers' money, and that is a big reason why he has picked him. And if Mike Pence or Indiana remind you of anything in the news, you will remember that a while back that they signed a religious freedom bill or law, and I believe around that time there was a big uproar, and at least one union took their international conference out of Indiana because of that. And anyway, cost Indiana in the millions of dollars. I believe I'd seen in an article that people pulling business out of Indiana after that, which, in my opinion, religious freedom bills are nothing more than a legal discrimination.
And talking about Mike Pence and drawing Koch brothers' money, watching TV last night, it doesn't seem like it worked. The Koch brothers are not impressed by this decision, so more to come on that.
Now we'll move on to news regarding Hillary Clinton. So Hillary did, at least right before the Democratic convention, have a pretty good week, at least when it comes to the Benghazi. She's found no wrongdoing there. As I look, and this was on Facebook, you look at U.S. Embassy and consulate attacks under Bush. You know, there's a place where 5 was killed, 12, 2, another one with 2, Saudi Arabia, there was one with 9, Yemen 2, Istanbul 6, Syria 4, Yemen 16, so a total of 60 deaths. You don't hear a word about it. And under the Bush administration, which I find this is the worst part of it, is we went into the Iraq war because there was weapons of mass destruction, which was a lie, and you're over 4,000 U.S. troop deaths. Which is worse, people?
Nobody seems to bring that up.
Yeah, we got in there with a lie. It cost all these servicemen their lives, but yeah, we're worried about 4 people. Not that that's not bad, but let's look at everybody here.
And we're able to continue funding it. Yes, we can't fund some essential programs here in the States ourselves.
Right, and then again, she was cleared from her emails and using her server. And if you look back again, Bush administration, Condoleezza Rice used a private email or private server. So did Colin Powell. Karl Rove deleted a bunch of emails.
22 emails off the White House server.
I'm not saying that that's not wrong, but hey, we're going to start holding people accountable. Let's start holding everybody accountable, not just Hillary. Hillary had also went on and endorsed Tim Kaine, or not endorsed Tim Kaine, but picked him as her running mate. He's going to be her vice president. Some issues with workers with him, as he looks like he's not backed, has argued for looser banking regulations, and leading advocate for Fast Track Authority, which would be what you can get the Trans-Pacific Partnership deal in without Congress being able to argue or talk about it before you sign it. With that being said, the Democratic National Convention is this week, so
it's already started today.
Yeah, more next week. Wait to hear, see what Bernie has to say, see what happens there, see what happens with emails. I did not get a chance to see the email outrage on how the Democratic Party was against Bernie, but again, more Nick show to try to look at that. Debbie Wasserman Schultz did resign as the head, and looks like, again, I got to read the report, but Hillary picked her up right away.
Yep.
For a job.
Almost immediately.
More along the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the Rock Against the Trans-Pacific Partnership had a concert in, I believe it was Denver, Colorado, and District 12 Director Bob LaVenture was there. And I believe him and maybe one other person from the Steelworkers talked on the stage, and there's a picture of him with Tom Morello.
There's a video out there on YouTube, too, with it.
So more along the lines of the world, with France, of course, we talked in one of the shows that there's tons of people out in the streets, some in the millions, protesting anti-labor laws there. And there was one picture, maybe I'll try to find it, maybe we can get it up on Facebook sometime, but you can see the soccer match that was happening there in France, and it was France against somebody, I don't know if it was that one was the Germany or if it was the championship one, but you see the Eiffel Tower in the background and just huge protesters, not even watching the game. Closer in that picture is a big screen of the game, but there's all these protesters behind it. You do not hear one thing about it, even though they had the soccer tournament there, that you should have heard something about what else was happening there. You don't hear nothing until there's somebody driving a car through a bunch of people out celebrating Bastille Day.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, we need to pick. You almost ended the show. Almost ended the show. We need to pick.
Glad you remembered.
We need to pick douche of the show.
What do you think,
What
Roy?
do we got? I gotta look back through here. I'm putting my pick on Don J. Don J made an appearance a couple times in the show. What do you think?
Man, I got a local guy that I would absolutely love to pick, and I mean extremely local, as in inside our employer facility. But I'll go ahead and keep my mouth shut this week, and we'll go ahead with I'll go with Don Jr. there.
Don J, douche of the week. See you next time.
Thanks.
This has been Steel Revolution. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steel Revolution Podcast. Questions or comments, email us steelrevolution105@gmail.com. Steel Revolution is a production of Steelworkers 105. On Steel Revolution.